This winter, you're going to thrive. This is going to be your best winter yet, even though you dread the cold. And if you do, by the way, there might be a big chance that you have a deep fear of rest, rejuvenation, and being productive the feminine way. By the end of this video, I hope that you have an ultimate guide how you can go through, I would rather say, winter with a feeling of, wow, I really love this season. Wow, this season is beautiful. Because you know me, if you have been with me for a while, I love to talk about seasons. Especially, I love the shifts with seasons, but I do also love how we can transform through that, how we can go through our own natural cycles and get that kind of extra energy from the seasons in itself. And one of the seasons that I always have had like the most difficulties with is winter. And when I talk to people, I am not alone. Winter creeps in a certain way for us, and we dread it. Like, we really dread it, and we despise it, and we don't like it. So I want to change this year, and I want this to be our best winter yet. So we have to start the conversation with our physical body, knowing that our physical body prepares to getting more temperature, right? So our body needs to take care of their resources and kind of focus their resources on heating us, on giving us the bodily temperature and so forth. It happens also a lot of changes and shifts within our hormones. So due to that, and together with that, our body actually focus the resources on heating our body, we can experience this sluggishness, we can experience that we are getting demotivated, that we're getting very tired, and that makes us in itself a little bit fearful. And here's the first step, like, why do we get fearful about that? Why is it so scary to be demotivated? Why is it so scary to feel that we are more tired? Why is it so scary for us to feel that we need to give more space for rejuvenating? Right? That's the first thing. I want you to really reflect on this, and we're going to go deeper in this throughout this video. So the first step I want you to do when it comes to your physical body and this understanding is that we have to first and foremost thank our body. So whenever you feel that you are becoming a little bit sluggish or you are becoming demotivated, tired, and so forth, I want you to pause and I want you to thank your body. Thank your body for its functions, that it's functioning well and it's taking care of you exactly how it's meant to take care of you. Thank you so much, body. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is amazing. This is amazing that you're helping me through this winter in the best possible way. I'm accepting it. I love it. I honor you, right? The next step is that we need to actually invite movement. We tend to not move that much when it comes to winter. And it's okay to, go through the seasons, and really, if you're not feeling motivated to have the most high intensity movement at this moment, that is okay. But since our body, since our temperature, with our temperature and with our hormones and with a lot of other things that is happening, actually our fight and flight response is also the most active during winter season. And due to that, there is a lot of things going on in here, right? So sometimes we don't feel that we have that energy for movement, for instance, and we get more stagnated. And when we get stagnated, we are not feeling happier, we are not feeling more blissful, and we can also experience that we don't like our lives, we don't know where to go, and we feel like this kind of meaningless, right? So we need to still give into this and fuel into some certain type of movement. So this can look different from person to person, right? So for you, it might be that you want to have a 5-minute dance class in the morning, or you want to do some yoga movements or some stretches, right? During the lunch break, you want to do something, you want to go for a walk whenever it's the sun outside or whatever. So find your movement, but make sure that you're doing these kind of micro movements throughout your day so that you are helping your body to restore. When we know that, we can zoom in a little bit more to the internal, which I usually talk about, right? So the first thing you're going to do this winter to have the best winter yet the first thing after your physical movement, right, is to manifest rest. What are these fears around resting for me? Why do I fear resting? What do I believe will happen when I rest? What do I believe will happen when I'm less motivated, or when I'm less ambitious during a time, or when I'm less efficient, right? What do I believe will happen? What is that I fear will happen? Then I want you to also ask yourself, like, is there some point in my life where I actually been resting? And for instance, I was really burnt out at that moment. So I now associate resting with being burnt out because I really needed rest then. And I look at rest in a very special way. This is so common for so many people. Many times we also have one kind of perspective what resting is. And it's usually associated with a time where we were not feeling good at all. And so that association is just not, it's just creeping in on, we are remembering our depression, or we are remembering when we felt really sad about something, or we are remembering a really down period, a dark period for ourselves. Find a new way to rebuild your relationship with rest. And how do you see rest nowadays, right? What do you want to do for your rest? Like for me, for instance, when I was younger, when I was on vacation, for instance, rest was really like just lying down and I don't know, being super lazy. Actually, according to me, I was just like not in great energies because I was in those stuck, stagnated energies, and the only thing I needed was just to be, was just to, lay down on a beach or whatever. Nowadays, rest for me when I go from vacation is totally different. I love to do many different things. I love to be on the beach, but I also love to be on hikes. I love to go on the city tours. I like to do all the different things. So I'm very active today in my traveling, which is for me, like the past Linnea wouldn't really understand, like, what? How did you get to here? And how is that resting for you? Rest for me nowadays, when it comes to my mind, for instance, is to learn how to steer out the bus, not being so occupied in my mind, for instance. That is a deep kind of connection that I have with rest today, and I'm building that relationship more and more. So where in your life, first and foremost, do you need that rest? Is it mentally? Is it emotionally? Is it actually physically? Where is that rest? The next one, when you're manifesting rest, is to ask yourself, how balanced are you in your soft, gentle productivity, this slower productivity? How balanced are you with that versus the productivity that is active and fast and efficient and do a lot of things at the same time, right? What is that compared to your soft, gentle productivity? How much do you have that balance in your life? Because many of us do actually only see productivity from a certain way or certain perspective, and even though we have the awareness of it, we still operate from that state, looking productivity from the perspective of, can I do something a little bit more efficient? Is there something I can change in my task? Is there something that I can change, in how I do things in order for me to, be a little bit more productive? Whereas gentle, soft productivity is about understanding and asking ourselves, actually, like, have I been rested enough to be productive in the way that I see productivity when it comes to the more active productivity, or what we can call it, right? Have I rested enough to be able to show up for myself in the world? Or do I need to rest a little bit more, right? When I rest, can I rest a little bit more just to give me some extra rest, right? What is it also when it comes to, being a little bit more simplistic in my life, or being a little bit more slower into my life? Like, if I slow down, can actually things happen quicker, right? Can I see how this is balancing out each other? So we have to get into our more kind of softer aspects, also called feminine aspects sometimes, when we are really feeling into the flow more and going with the flow and going with the fluidity of life, being a little bit more flexible, that one day my rhythm is in some way, the next day my rhythm is different. Productivity is not only just one thing. It's not just only one perspective. It is a scale, and it can look very different actually from day to day. Being productive can look so different from the next day. So here I want you to ask yourself, like, do you despite it? Do you despite being less productive, so to say, right? When you see that you are just taking it a little bit more chill, or when you're doing something totally unrelated to what you were supposed to do, right? Do you despite it then? Do you feel shame? Do you feel guilt? Do you, when you have your self-care practice, do you ask yourself, like, what will I get out of it? Or I hope that I will get something out of it. Like your mind is like telling you that I really need something to get out of this, because now I have this hour and then I want a lot of energy because of that. And you have like all these different type of expectations on top of your self-care, or on top of you giving space for yourself, or on top of you being creative. And the last question I want you to ask yourself when it comes to manifesting rest, so that you can have the best winter yet and experience winter bliss, is to actually ask yourself, are you uncomfortable in one way or another with slow periods? Like when something feels a little bit slower, when something don't really like happen in your life, do you get uncomfortable? Or do you get uncomfortable if things takes a little bit longer time? What happens if something takes a little bit longer time than you expected? Do you get stressed out? Do you get anxious? Is there something there that is happening where it's actually a representation of you fearing rest? When you reflected on that, I think it's important for us that we also give ourselves the opportunity and the actions to manifest rest. And when we manifest rest, we can I see it in this kind of winter period in two ways. So the first way is to prepare yourself. Winter is not an initiation part. Winter is not a season when you are going to do a lot of things, or when you are going to take new actions or initiate things. Of course, if you really feel with that and you really align with those energies, and we go through seasons within seasons. But in general, it's not that the most kind of how we look at a period of reaching our goals, reaching some certain type of ambitions, right? So in this period, I want you to prepare, okay? You are preparing yourself for a new era. But in this moment, in this season, it is the most important for you to close chapters and ending eras, ending parts of you that you don't want to bring into the next one. As I said, also, we go through these kind of experiences of fear and so forth. So we are not maybe in a state of actually moving forward and going forward that much. We are more so in a state of closing the chapter, of breaking the change, breaking the patterns, right? And due to that, it's important for us that we know that and we honor that, and we're just like, wow, finally I get this season now where I get to just like do all these things at this moment, right? And give a lot of attention, a lot of focus to that, and also prepare. But I don't necessarily need to know it all already. That's the first thing. Ask yourself, what do I need to close in this chapter? What is it that I need to end? And what can I begin to prepare for? And the second one is to be actually resourceful. As I talked from before, our body is getting more resourceful, so we need to do that as well. Because we don't have the same energy. We don't have the same kind of space to give into certain things. So we have to be resourceful. And the number one thing that we can do to be more resourceful is actually to look into our environment. And especially when it comes to winter, I do believe that our internal environment is the most important. But also, of course, like, how is that being translated out into the external world? So here I want you to look at these different types of habits, behaviors, attitudes, perspectives, actions you've been taking or you've been having that haven't really given the effect that you want. Okay, so we are closing the cycle, as we said, right? We are ending the era. So then we have to look at, okay, these are the things that I tested it out, okay? And yeah, that's great, but actually it haven't given me that much that I wanted. What are those, so that you can give yourself more space, so that you have more space for this more slow productivity that we talked about? Be gentle with yourself, rejuvenate, taking care of yourself, having cozy evenings, having cozy days, just having a little bit more space, right? Now, if you want to go deeper and manifest rest, maybe you are tired of this constant chase, overworking, always on to the next thing, and feeling as if you're putting your needs aside, my course, Wildly Fulfilled, is here to support you on your journey. So this is a course where we learn how to shift from a imbalance and having kind of these fears of resting actually to operating from a state of ease, alignment, and joy instead, where we're actually attracting our desires because we are in a state of being able to magnetize that. So if this sounds something for you, this is your time to reclaim your safe space, definitely. And I do have all the information in the description that you can look into. The next thing to stop dread the winter and actually enjoy it is to embrace winter. Okay, no maybe think, right? But this is actually in regards to finding a way where you really embrace winter, where you do see the beauty of the dark, where you do see that you enjoy the dark, you accept the dark, where you do see the beauty with the cold. Is it that it is a beauty with the cold that you can drink a hot drink or hot cacao outside? Or is it that you can sit in a little bit more, having a lot of blankets and reading a book, right? How is it that you want to embrace winter? So ask yourself that. How do you want to embrace winter? Make this a very cozy season for yourself. Make this a season where you are actually evolving in the way of just feeling into a certain season. Because I think that this season, as I said at the beginning, is one of the most disliked seasons. And due to that, we are going to like it. We are going to love it, right? We're going to really see how we can accept something for what it is. It doesn't have to become our favorite season. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we have to accept all facets of life, right? All facets of ourselves as all seasons. There is a level of social imbalance when it comes to winter season. And in order for you to really enjoy winter and have the best winter yet, we have to understand this kind of imbalance. So in 1 minute, you might feel that you want to withdraw from the world and never come back. And the next one, you actually feel that you want to cozy up and have a really great time with your family or gathering with your friends. And it's also a season where there are a lot of holidays, right? For many of us who celebrates Christmas, New Year's, there are probably a lot of other holidays that I maybe don't know about, right? And I think isn't it like Ramadan also during in March or something? I can be really, really wrong. Sorry if I am. But there are a lot of like holidays throughout the winter. So due to that, we have this back and forth, push and pull, because we do also feel that we want more space for ourselves, right? What happens many times, and definitely I'm guilty of this, is that I'm withdrawing too much. Almost as I said with the physical body. It's great, it's okay, we can accept and honor that our body don't want to move that much. But if we linger into that or give into that too much, we create the opposite effect of helping it, right? So here is almost the same thing, that this winter season, I'm actually going to make sure that I'm giving a little bit more space for the socials still and doing some social activities, because this is also a time when we need this extra care, tenderness, gatherness together, where we can actually take a lot of appreciation from and a lot of help from the community, where things feels a little bit darker, when feels a little bit slower, or where things feels a little bit more colder. Why don't heat each other up with meeting each other and having heart-to-heart conversations, right? Do things where we do really feel that we are being heated from within. And if you do not like holidays, if you do not feel that you want to meet your family for Christmas and so forth, I totally get you. I've been in that space as well. The best thing that you can do is to celebrate however you want to celebrate, right? If you want to go away to Scotland, that I did, totally alone, and having a 3-course dinner for yourself during Christmas Eve, do have that. That is so empowering, and that is so just like loving with yourself, right? The first thing that you have to do is always to come back to self and have a great relationship with self. 2 more things. We have to talk about mindset, and we have to talk about identity shifts, right? We always talk about this in this channel. So the mindset we need for winter, in order for us to feel that this is the coziest winter ever, is to ask ourselves, as I mentioned before, have I rested enough to be at my best? And to be at my best is really like from that place that I see it as my best, in the way that I see that I show up the best. Have I rested enough to give in overflow of energy? Have I rested enough? Have I given myself this enough in order for me to do something else, right? So it's always come back to, have I rested enough? And when we can start from that point, we stop chasing life. We stop, going for next goal and next and the next, and feeling that we are so busy and we are so booked all the time and we have so little time, right? This kind of energy of lighting fires. Instead of that, we are actually starting from another start point, so to say. So we're actually already rested in the process, and we can give more into the experience, we can give more into the situation, we can give more into our work, we can give more into our relationships, right? So it's really important, but I really want you to start with this type of mindset. And the identity shift we touched in this video today is actually to go through, where's my transformation? What transformation is it that I'm going through right now? As I talked about, it is an end of an era, it is a completion stage, it is like a transformative period, a very transformative period. We go very deep within, deeper than ever maybe, facing a lot of things that is coming up, or facing a lot of things in our superconscious and so forth. So this is really a period for us to see what we are transforming into, and we prepare ourselves for that. But remember, we do not need, so to say, create that identity quite yet. We don't need to figure all out yet, because the chances are also, when you are exiting winter, you are then entering into the initiation phase of spring, right? And then a lot of things that you thought would be very, important for you at that moment will show it doesn't. I really experienced that. I've been flowing with seasons so many years now, and this is something I know for sure, that many times we do believe that we want to go to a certain type of direction. We want to have a certain type of new habits and perspectives. We want to dress in a certain type of way. We want to be in a certain type of way. And then when spring comes, we're just like, no, that is not at all, because I wasn't really like, I was in completion phase, right? So I don't want that into my new, right? So just remember that the identity shift for the winter is more so about, what is it that I'm undressing, right? What is it that I put aside? What is it that I toss away? What is it that I'm transforming? The transformative process is never creation in a way, because it needs space for transformation. Do I understand what I mean? So in this process where we are transforming, we're actually not seeing a certain type of results yet. We're actually not really growing into that big of a clarity that we have in initiation phases. I hope that makes sense. It makes so much sense for me, but sometimes I don't know if it makes sense for others. Anyhow, so that was all the different points that we had for today. Go back, you have timestamps in the description as well, so you can go back to the different kind of journaling prompts that we've been going through now, pick all of them, or you just pick whatever feels resonating for you. This is going to be your best winter ever. I look so much forward to hearing how you love the cold, how you love the dark, how you love the coziness instead of how you dread it. We can do this together. Have an amazing winter, and talk to you next time. Mwah.